I believe you're holding up high. Our God is a good God. Here we are once again. A few days ago, I talked about that God can do anything. Brethren, I continue to encourage you that our Father who is in heaven, He can do anything, and He can do anything for anybody. He's not a God who is so selective. As long as you're a believer and you're believing in Him, you're holding up high in your faith, God can do anything for you. Today I want to put a challenge to you as we continue right now, wherever you are, when you're watching me. Have you ever imagined how you would feel, or what would happen to you? How would you react if right now, I'm meaning right now, God answered all your prayers? Or if right now God answered that which you have been believing Him for, what would be your reaction? What would be your reaction, child of God? That's the challenge I'm putting forward for you. Because sometimes we pray, believe God, but then we do not prepare ourselves that if God does this for me right now, what would be my reaction as a child of God? So it is as much possible, as much as how you pray. I want to tell you a story of some guys who were like us. When you read in the books or the book of the Word, there was a man called Zacharias who was married to a lady called Elizabeth. Elizabeth happened to be a sister of Mary. So what happened is these people were praying for quite some time, and Zacharias was actually a man of God, was a priest of high caliber at that time, and they were righteous people who were praying and believing God for a baby boy or for a baby. And then God answers them. God comes through and says, you know what, Zachariah, I have heard your prayer and I'm going to give you a baby boy. I'm going to give you a child. But you know what happened to this gentleman? Was I was reading it just where I started asking myself that if God right now answered my prayers, am I ready? So as what I've asked you, are you ready? What happened to this guy? God actually answered the prayers that they were believing God for. And they felt disappointed instead. They felt frustrated instead. They felt like wounded instead. They felt like, in shock. And in shock, at that moment, the man of God actually cut off the belief. He didn't believe anymore. He said, look at me. This is the guy who has been praying and believing God for a child. And he says, look at me. I am so old. Am I going to bear a child? In other words, Zacharias could not believe it at all. Everything that he had been praying for had been granted, had been given to him, but he could not believe it. He received his miracle, but Zacharias could not believe it. So that's why I asked, what is your position? We are saying that with God everything is possible, but what is your position? What is your position right now? If God says that today I have decided to visit my child, I have heard all his prayers, how have you prepared yourself to receive that? Or you may end up in disbelief like Zacharias. He didn't believe this guy until the child was born. And God decides to make him mute, to wait until the child was born. So when you're praying to God, as a child of God, I would like you to actually imagine yourself as though you are in the answer already. I think this can help you that when God decides to visit you, you will not be in disbelief. Most times, when God answers people, you hear people, oh my God, I can't believe this. Oh my God, is it me? Has it been done? And remember, you have been praying to God to give you that He has done for you. But then at that moment, there's this belief that comes in. But for us to avoid that, don't be like Zacharias, who was told and he's like, is it really, really going to happen? When you start praying to God and believing God for something, start imagining yourself as though you have got it. You're living in it. You have it already. Put your imagination so high. You see how like you imagine your visions, you imagine your goals, you imagine your dreams before you see them. This is exactly what you need to do when you pray and believe that God is going to do something for you. Keep your imaginations up high and know that God is going to do it, so that you don't be like the gentleman we have just talked about. But what I want you to know, children of God, brethren, is that for God, there is nothing that is impossible. For God, there is nothing that is impossible. The angel replies Mary in Luke chapter 1, verse 37, and tells him there is nothing that is impossible for God. So, God can do anything, brethren. Shalom, children of God.